All right, all right, all
All
right.
right.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How y'all doing? It's Josh from KeepItTechie. Y'all know how we do it. I try to do these interviews every couple weeks. I was trying to do it every single week, but trying to get back into the groove of things after being, caught up with a lot of stuff from work. But welcome, man. I'm glad to see, people in the building. And today I have a very special guest. I'll be interviewing a hacker. That's what I named it, Tech Talk with a Hacker. But today I have Charles in the building, and he is a ethical hacker. And I wanted to interview him to try to, provide information for people that are trying to get into the cybersecurity field or different areas similar to where he's actually, working. But I'm glad to have you, Charles. Good to see you, man. Glad you was able to make it. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm feeling great. It's sensational Saturday in my world, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad you were able to come through. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm glad to see all the people in the building. Let me give a couple of shout outs right fast.
Sure.
Um Good to see you, Store Fox. Glad you were the first one here. Salute to you, man. What's up, Fire Snake? Good to see you. Um, glad you guys are in the building, and whoever's watching in the clouds, say what's up. You know what I'm saying? Or shout out where you from, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you guys are here. But let's just go on and roll right into the interview. What I typically like to do is allow you to introduce yourself as well as give a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, my name is Charles Shirer. I go by the BSD Bandit on Twitter.
Yeah.
So if you're on Twitter, definitely look me up if you can. A little bit about myself. I'm a penetration tester slash red teamer, but I've also had some threat hunting experience in the past. So that's for like the defensive side of the house as well. I've been in this industry for like, oh my goodness, 18 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 18 years already.
Wow.
Sheesh, time is flying.
Mhm.
But I'm a huge retro gamer, and I just like having fun. And every day I get to wake up, and I get to hack stuff for a living.
Yeah, yeah, that's super cool, man. And yo, after I seen you do the interview with the one on Lightfoot,
Uh huh.
that's when I started following you. I had never heard of you, man, until I seen that interview. And that was a dope interview, by the way. And if you guys are not subscribed to, the one Lightfoot, check him out as well. He does a lot of great content. But when I seen you on the channel, I started watching you. I followed your Twitter, I followed everything. I went and found everything. And as far as like the inspirational videos, I think that's super cool. Like what you do almost, it seems like almost every other day or so, or a couple of days, I
Yeah.
see you post them up. That's super cool, man. So, what is your reasoning behind that? Is that like just motivation, really, or if you want to explain?
Yeah. So it was more it was a big thing in the infosec community, especially like the security community, where there was issue of like depression, anxiety, and it was really a
Hmm.
lot of things going on around like within like with mental health, right? So a good friend of mine, Amanda Berlin, shouts to Amanda Berlin. They help.
Shout out.
She's one of the co-founders of Mental Health Hackers Group, right?
Okay.
So I went to the Mental Health Hackers Group. Well, I joined them. I'm family as well,
Hmm.
but doing like mental health hackers talks at like different like security venues, right? So looking more into like mental health, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people that's suffering from depression, anxiety, and everything else. And then on top of that, here comes the pandemic, and everybody's stuck inside, and folks that like live alone and everything that really don't have any family, they're all by themselves trying to get through this pandemic.
Hmm.
So it motivated me, and I just wanted to, you know, just create like first I started out with like words on Twitter. I was just, motivational words. And I was like, what am I doing? We live in the age of video. So I just started like recording myself just giving a like morning motivational speech, and whatever song was playing in my head that morning, that's
Hmm.
the song that I would play in the background, like after the morning video. So for those you don't know, so Monday is Magnificent Monday, Tuesday is Terrific Tuesday, Well, or Turn It Up Tuesday now.
Yeah.
So Wednesday is Wonderful Wednesday. Thursday is Thankful Thursday. Friday is Fantastic Friday. If you're a Starbucks drinker, it's Frap Friday. And same
Yeah.
thing for Monday. If you're a Starbucks drinker, it's Macchiato Monday, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Sensational Saturday, and then you got Super Sunday. So positive names for every day of the week. Plus, I just wanted to get people like motivated. Like, look, life is not over because this pandemic hit. You know, you have a chance at life. You have a chance to go do something great. And I just have a passion for people.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to do those videos to help motivate folks that might need a little oomph in the morning. And
Okay.
those videos is for me too.
Mhm.
So it's for all of us to get us like fired up. You know, sometimes you don't feel like getting up. Sometimes you might not feel like, you know, hitting the enter button or whatever else that you got
Yeah.
going on. You might not feel like doing that. But I figure, you know, if I could just give just a little, you know, put a smile on somebody's face, that works for me, man.
Yeah, yeah, and that's super dope, man. And I admire you for doing that, and just putting positive energy out there for people, especially in these trying times and everything. So,
Yeah,
I
thank you.
definitely salute you for that.
And
Um,
that's where the t-shirts come from as well too. So if you notice in the video, I wear like a lot of retro t-shirts.
mm-hmm.
So the retro t-shirts take me back to a time when times were simpler. So that's kind of like that kind of motivated it as well too. So that's why. Well, today is Super Mario Brothers 2. All the bosses from Super Mario Brothers 2.
Okay,
So I don't know what tomorrow will be. Depends on how I feel when I wake up. Yesterday
okay,
was Dungeons and Dragons.
that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, yeah, if you guys don't know, I got Charles in the building. He's also known as BSD Bandit. And
Mhm.
so check him out on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And he puts out like a lot of motivational videos. And I really salute him for that. But let me give one more shout out. What's up, Kenny Conjo, as well as Sheesh Awada. I'm sorry for messing up your name. I apologize. What's up, C Over? What's up, man? Good to see you guys. So next question I typically ask is um typically what like if someone was trying to get into cybersecurity or pen testing or the area that you're in,
Mhm.
where do you think they should start?
Honestly, they should start like looking into, okay, first of all, what might interest you, and it could be something that's like all over the place. 1 minute it could be web, because I was like that. 1 minute it could have been web. 1 minute it was wireless. 1 minute it was Windows.
Hmm.
I would say start with just being a sysadmin. Start with like, for example, if you wanted to learn about like web application security, right? The first thing you want to understand is how HTTP works. Stand up a actual web server, and you can, and it doesn't take much for a lab these days. There's a lot of free virtualization software you can use, like VirtualBox, which is free, and they even have like a free version of VMware Player that you can install this stuff on. And you just install it and you just start like practicing. So you say, okay, I have a web server here. Then you start looking into how to like attack a web server,
Hmm.
right? Just as a start. And I'm just using like web application as an example, but you can apply this method to anything. And like for with web, I was like, okay, I can attack a web server. This is how I do it. These are the tools that I use. This is the operating system I'm using. And as you go along, you learn more techniques. And this is where like security conferences are important as well too. So you get to
Hmm.
meet other folks that are doing the same thing that you're doing, because they might have more like advanced techniques and you can actually learn something. And the cool part about it, you make a new friend and network,
Yeah.
right? So that's the key too. Also, as you're learning and as you're doing, you're going to want to start doing like talks or even writing blogs,
Hmm.
because your journey that you're on, and as much as you've learned, even though you feel like you might feel like that you haven't learned enough, but you might have just learned just enough to help somebody else that's just starting out before you or after you, you
Hmm.
know? So you just never know. All information is good, so all any information that you may have, you can say, hey, put up a blog how to set up a web server. There
Hmm.
could be somebody out there that's never set up a web server before, but because of your blog, now they know how to do it. So never look at the information that you have as like, oh, I don't know enough, I don't think I should talk about it. No, talk about it. Share that information, because somebody else might want to you know use it.
Hmm.
But back to how I got off on a tangent there, but
Nah, you good.
back to how to get into like security, that's how I would start with like just setting up like software. If you want to learn about web, set up a web server. If you learn about Windows,
Mm-hmm.
learn about Linux, especially Linux, because a lot of Linux you're going to be dealing with because operating systems are important. Even though it's a Windows world, you're going to run into like Linux servers, right?
Yeah.
I would also, and I highly recommend focusing and learning networking, like computer networking 101.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to help you tremendously because if you don't understand how networks work, how can you hack them?
Yep.
And the same thing goes for applications and operating systems. So I would definitely start at networking. And then eventually, as time goes on, put a little bit of like scripting language in there. You can start up, the best language to start off with is Python.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be a full-blown developer and everything else. But if you know how to write in Python and actually read Python, it'll take you a long way if you want to get into like penetration testing or if you want to get into like defensive security.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, you get to automate some cool stuff too and create your own programs.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah,
I do
that's
a lot
the fun
of
part.
Yeah, I've been doing some developing at work, you know, more recently and adding that to my tool belt, you know what I'm saying? Even though I don't work in cybersecurity, that's something that I've been incorporating in it. But one thing I kind of skipped over, it was a typical question. I try to ask like or I wanted you to kind of explain how did you get into the IT field as well because yeah, and I know things have changed. You say you've been in the field for like 15 years, and I know
18.
the process. Yeah, 18. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo, thank you.
But go ahead if you can explain that as well. Right.
Yeah, definitely. So I started out in really like 2001. So back in 2001, I had like this book called Networking Complete, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my parents bought it for me for like $20. And I started reading that, and then I just started printing out papers, learning about like TCP/IP protocol, OSI model, and just learning the basics of networking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent a lot of time in the networking arena, along with learning Linux, because Linux was my OS of choice.
Okay.
Right. And I really enjoyed it. So I kind of did it backwards. Most folks, you know, they probably start out with Windows and playing around Windows. I actually did the opposite. And that's just me going against the grain. I said, you know, I want to learn Linux.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I want to learn Linux. I just want to just do something different and run in the command line and everything else. But the crazy moment that really helped me realize that I was on the right path. Remember, it was a virus called the Blaster virus back in 2003.
Yeah,
right?
I remember a little bit about it. Yeah.
The Blaster worm. Yeah, it was the Blaster worm.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I remember going to the computer lab and nobody could get on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, my laptop was running Red Hat 7.2.
Okay.
So I was able to plug in, get on the internet, and do what I needed to do. So everybody's like, oh, how you get on the internet? I'm running Linux. That could have been a commercial plug, by the way, too.
Yeah.
If Linux if Linux was listening at that time. But it's like, yeah, I'm running Linux. That's why it's not affecting me, because it only affects Windows. And I was like, yes, I'm on the right track. I will continue to learn this, and I will continue to keep going forward with it. So that kind of started the ball. And then I got my first job out of school at Virginia State University. That's where I graduated from.
Okay.
So got my first job at OIT. And, you know, before I even got the job, I interned for like 7 months with no pay.
Wow.
So yeah, I did that for 7 months with no pay, and then they decided to pay me. So I was a PC tech. I started out as a PC tech, and I was like ghosting labs and, you know, fixing hardware, doing network drops, and learning how to make cables. That's all I did. Right.
Okay.
So where I got my position as a sysadmin, I started out as like, okay, the guy that was the email administrator, he had to move because his wife was in the military.
Okay.
So he had to wind up quitting the job. So when he quit, the boss, I'll never forget, he had a Novell NetWare book in one hand, and the other hand was like GroupWise for email. Okay. He put them both on my desk and said, "You are the new email administrator. Don't screw up." And he shut my door.
That's what's up, man.
So that's how, and what I had to do, I had to build a lab. So this is where it comes back to. So I went home that night, and mind you, There was no VMware like that. If VMware had
Mm-hmm.
just come out, it was like VMware 2. But it
Okay.
wasn't anything that I could get my hands on. So I had to build a lab within our server room to practice
Okay.
and build a separate network. This is where subnetting came in. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to subnet the network off so it didn't affect the production network so I could have my own lab.
Yeah.
And I practiced with that day and night because I would set it up to where I could remotely log in when I
Mm-hmm.
went home just so I can learn a little bit more. But that's how I got, like, I was a sysadmin. I was a PC tech first, learned networking. I was a sysadmin, learned to be a sysadmin. Then I became a Unix engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Unix, it was just all about, like, at that time, like Solaris, AIX. It was a lot of Linux as well, too. But just doing a lot of scripting and coding and whatnot. And like I spent a lot of time in that arena. So learning all those different traits, that's what got me into security.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that I was in security and doing pen testing, when I run into a Linux box, guess what? I know where the logs live because I was a sysadmin. I know
Yeah.
how the logs are configured. I know how Linux works. I understand how Windows works if I run into a Windows box because I was a Windows admin,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So this is where all the pieces of the puzzle come in. It's all about the different pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's what all comes in.
yeah, and so and that's one of the things I try to I don't know preach during these interviews as well,
Mm-hmm.
is that um understanding the different areas first will help you, in cybersecurity, because if you don't understand how networking set work, I mean,
You can
just like
forget
what you
it.
said, I'm kind of repeating everything you said, but just like if you don't understand networking, you don't understand
Yeah.
the way the systems work, then yeah, you're not going to be a good
Right.
cybersecurity professional. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just, it's just one of those things. And even defense, it's
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't even have to be a hacker. It could be defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's sysadmin roles, and having those roles in the past can still work for me because, again, I understand how Windows works. I understand how Linux works. I know where the logs are. I know what to look for if something's wrong on the system.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that experience. So that was my journey into security in a nutshell.
Okay. Cool, cool,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah, salute to you, man. Starting from the bottom. Now we here.
Now I'm
Like
here.
that. Yeah.
Shouts to
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah, definitely. But so in cybersecurity or pen testing, how important are the certifications for that field?
So depends on the certification. So for example, you have the CEH. Let's use CEH as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the CEH, there's nothing wrong with the CEH. It just gives you a foundation because it is multiple choice, right? So it just gives you the basic, like, pretty much like the jargon, right?
Okay.
So for example, like understanding like the different ports on SSH, different port numbers, SSH,
Mm-hmm.
types of encryption, what's a port sniffer, what's a port scanner,
Mm-hmm.
what's a ping sweeper, like different, like, it's more so like the jargon, right?
Yeah.
Which is good because it gives you a base of what you're looking at and like a foundation to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to get into penetration testing, I would suggest taking the OSCP,
Okay.
which is by Offensive Security.
Yeah.
That is a hands-on penetration testing course, right? And then at the end for the exam, you actually have to hack into the boxes in order to pass and write a report on how you got in order to pass the exam.
Okay. Wow.
And that will give you tremendous amount of knowledge to start with. Because there's as you know, things always change. There's always new opportunities to learn. So you always got to keep your knowledge back and forth, keep your knowledge going. So I would definitely recommend, like, certifications help always. It's
Mm-hmm.
always good to learn something new. It gives you a foundation. It's not the end all be all. I think a lot of times I've run into folks that think, okay, I got the certification, so I should just get this job. And it doesn't work that way. It's experience, and the only way you get experience is about getting out there and getting your hands dirty. Great, you got the certification, but now let's put some muscle behind it. Let's start blogging about different things that you're working on, because this is the new resume.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. This is the new resume. So start blogging, about, now that you got your certifications, start blogging about what you're working on, and even do a Twitch stream.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch streams are great too, because you're actually on camera and you're demonstrating the work that you say that you know how to do on your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put that on your resume and say, hey, here's my Twitch stream, by the way, as well too. When they ask for, I guess, like extracurricular activities outside of what you normally do, you can say, hey, I have a Twitch stream where I do XYZ.
Okay.
And they can go to that Twitch stream and look it up and see exactly that you know how to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
You know,
one of the
so
reasons. That's one of the reasons I do my channel is really it is to help me as well. And I meant to say this a little earlier. A lot of this software and stuff that I cover, I don't know it off,
right.
the way it looks on the video. I've taken like a week or so studying it, or not studying it, but reviewing it and playing around with it, and then do the video. And that way I'm demonstrating that I understand what I went through to learn it or whatever, depending on how complicated it is. But yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's good to have that digital resume. That's kind of what I call it. It's your video resume. On Twitch as well as GitHub as well. So
Yes.
yeah. But so the next thing I kind of wanted to roll into was let's see. I've been switching stuff up, and I'm kind of confusing myself a little bit because, like I said, I ain't done this in a while. Let me just
take your time, man. Take your time.
Yeah, let me just halt for a second and start asking. Well, not asking questions, but giving a couple people shout outs in the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Good to see you, President Leopold. Kenny Conjo, I'm gonna ask your question in a second. What's up, Gabe? Good to see you, man. Professor Black Ops, good to see you in the building. Yeah, Gabe is he's a cybersecurity. You guys probably need to link up as well, because he works. He's a engineer. He started off as an engineer. I did an interview with him a while back. But yeah, he's in the cybersecurity field heavy. He's on Twitter and all that stuff. So I get you guys in
Twitter
contact.
link.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are just coming in, this is Charles from and he has a Twitter. You check him out on Twitter. BSD Bandit. Yeah, I'm about to mess it up. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm all over the place.
BSD Bandit.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I brought him on, because you're like I would say, third person that I met, black guy that actually works with Linux or know anything about Linux. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was I thought that was super cool. You like the first person, first other person I ran into that is into Linux and like Linux. And that was another factor why I brought you on as well. Because the reason let me tell you this right fast. The reason I started my channel is because I love Linux. I enjoy working with Linux. I love playing with Linux. And everybody I learn stuff from, because I use YouTube as a resource. Everybody I learn something from, doesn't look like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so I was like, let me try to create, my own spin on showing people Linux, or introducing it to people where I'm from as well. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I know I'm going on a tangent too, but
no. This is a conversation. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons I started my channel. You know what I'm saying? To try to bring things to, people that look like me and everything. So, and it's rare to see guys like us. I'm starting to see a lot more.
Yeah.
But so next thing, let me go on and ask you this. So what's your actual job title now?
Security researcher. So, aka, well, you might to keep it simple, security consultant.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
security consultant.
What does that entail as far as the type of things you do on a daily basis? And that's mainly, I just mainly wanted people that are thinking about getting into the field, if they get into a position like yours, what would be like a day-to-day thing, so to speak?
Okay, so a day-to-day, like, you're actually working with the client, so it's more so a combination of penetration testing, or
Mm-hmm.
it could be a red teaming. And I'll explain the difference between the two as well too. So if you link up with the client, here's my day to day. It's a new I'm gonna start from a position where it's like a new client, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a new client, then it's like, okay, we do like a kickoff call. Say they say, hey, you know what? I want to have a penetration test done against my company. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Then we'll sit down, we have a kickoff call. And within that kickoff call, it talks about, hey, we want you to do a test against our infrastructure or our web application or even wireless network, depends on the situation, right? Here's what you can do, here's what you can't do, because there's some things that's in scope and there's some things that's just they just want out of scope, right? So you iron all that out in the kickoff call. And of course, even before that, you have like the statement of work
Mm-hmm.
that they've signed off already before you even get to the kickoff call, right? So the kickoff call is just like to reassure everything, right? So because they might think of a new link that they might want you to check or a new network, however, right? Once the kickoff call is done, they set the date like, hey, I want you to start testing on this date, and this is the date that I want you to end the testing. And
Mm-hmm.
then we expect the report like a week later, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so during that week, you're like pen test, you're trying to hack into the application, the network or wireless or however else, right? During the pen test. Once you've done that and you report as you go, I
Mm-hmm.
recommend that always report as you go, because some of these reports can get up to 25 to 30 pages. Depends on how many findings that you get during the week.
Oh.
So you want to, yeah, writing is important as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be able to report as you go, take screenshots, put everything in order as you go. So by the end of the week, you're not scrambling trying to remember what you did on Monday, on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to put all that stuff in the report and then have the report ready for the client to ship out the following week. Right? Same thing with a red team. Now, here's the difference. I'll break it down like this. Red teaming and penetration testing are not the same. They're totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So penetration testing, they know that you're going to be there. They know that you're going to be attacking the network, scanning and everything else. So they know that already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Red teaming is more like an exercise. So it's more so like saying, okay, you're really going to act as an adversary that's trying to break into our network without us knowing. And
Okay.
we have a blue team who's monitoring for all this stuff to exercise their monitoring capabilities.
Okay.
So you're coming in, you're trying to make sure that you're not caught by the blue team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the key. So you come in, like, you're not going to just run like a network scan and everything else right away. Like, you're going to like pick and choose your exploits and go, okay, let me see if I can get somebody to click on this link so I could do this. Is where phishing comes in, right?
Yeah.
Put together a phishing campaign. Somebody gains access, they can click on the link. You either gain access to their machine, and then you can kind of work your way from there. And a lot of times we do like even assume breach from a red teaming perspective. So we just assume that you already got into the network and you're at this desktop. Let's see how deep you can get into the network as far as like lateral movement or privilege escalation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where red teaming comes in. So it's totally different mindsets.
Okay.
One, you're kind of like knocking on the door, like scratching, kicking, anything you can get your hands on to get into the application or the network. And that's
Mm-hmm.
pen testing. With red teaming, it's like chess.
Okay. Yeah.
You're very strategic with your moves. You're very strategic with your exploit. You're not going to just go, oh, here's exploit. Okay, I'm in. No, you got to be quiet. That's why it's more strategic.
Mm-hmm.
So pen testing chess. No, excuse me. Pen testing checkers, red teaming chess.
Okay. Yeah, that's super cool analogy on explaining it. So that's dope. Now let me ask you this: as far as like consulting, or
Mm-hmm.
that type of job, does it
Yeah.
involve a lot of traveling, at some points?
No, and
No.
that depends on the company. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I'm 100% remote, even before COVID.
Okay. 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 So
Yeah.
it's pretty much remote, or a lot of those positions going to remote. Cause well, the reason I asked
Should be.
is, yeah, the reason I asked, I was
Mm-hmm.
approached by a company a while back, and
Mm-hmm.
this was actually a couple of years ago when I was living in Texas, and they were
Uh-huh.
trying to recruit me to be a pen tester or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a lot of travel, and that's why that was the only reason I asked that, because they
Yeah.
said that position had a lot of travel involved, where they went around the country and I guess pen test at different organizations.
Locations.
Yeah.
Some places do that. Some places do
Mm-hmm.
that, and there's a lot of places that just say, you know what, we're just going to do it remotely. We'll
Okay.
probably travel like say 25%.
Okay. Well,
Which means like you probably go somewhere like maybe once a month, if that.
okay. Now let me ask you this:
Mhm.
the um with the security portion, do you do any physical security?
No, I don't do any physical security.
Okay.
I learned a little bit of lock picking, but that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool. Because I remember, and I'm probably sure you heard it. What's that? I think it's Brian Lunduke. I think he did a talk on
Physical
physical
security.
security. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
enjoyed that
sure
talk,
did.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome guy.
yeah. But so let me ask you this: as far
Mhm.
as getting into that field, is degrees needed?
Not necessarily so, but it does help, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, because I know that's like the big thing these days. Well, you don't need a degree to do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. You don't necessarily need a degree, but if you have an opportunity to get a degree, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't throw it away just because of, oh well, you don't need it. Yeah, that may be true.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to make sure you find the right situation, because some companies still do require like the 4-year level degree at
Yeah.
least. You know, and I guess they look at it from a standpoint to where, hey, is he trainable or is she trainable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has that person, it just shows that you've completed something. You've started something, you've completed it. And I think that's what they're looking at, as opposed to say, well, I'm just not going to do this. I'm just going to jump straight in. And, some companies are all for it. They're like, hey, you got the hands-on experience. You've demonstrated it. You've proved it. Okay, we're going to hire you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then some folks, like the whole HR stuff where it's like they got to check it off. Like, hey, does he have 4-year degree? Okay, check. Okay, CEH, check.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like a checkbox
Yeah.
with some places.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of times
Yeah.
the HR department they don't really know. They just
No.
copying and pasting from another job posting they found for the similar or the
Yeah.
same job title. So
Yeah, sometimes you get the buzzword bonanza, like,
hmm
hey, do you know VMware? Yes. Ethical hacking, CH? Oh, yes, great. And then, that's what some of the questions that you gave me, like, it's that. Okay, great. Yeah. So, yeah, buzzword bonanza.
uh-huh. Yep, exactly. Now let me ask you this. Do you do
Mhm.
any bug bounty? Have you
I've
tried?
actually started back to bug bounty for a while there. I was working on it. Then it's like on and off, because it's like, you still got to deal with real life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything can't be 100% virtual,
Yeah.
So I'm married with a 3-year-old daughter. So yeah,
Okay.
can't do bug bounties all the time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, as of late, if I want to research something, or I just want to, play around with something, then yeah, I'll do a bug bounty. But a lot of times I practice in like vulnerable web apps.
Okay.
That's the thing, vulnerable web apps. And if I learn something new, like I learned a new technique with Cobalt Strike that I'm going to be playing around with. And Cobalt Strike is a tool that a lot of red teamers use in order to like test, like when it's kind of like a command and control tool where you can connect to it remotely, like they do DNS or HTTP or HTTPS. When the client, like say for a phishing campaign, client clicks on the link, now that box can communicate back home to your Cobalt Strike server. I'm just giving you a brief overview because there's so
Mm-hmm.
much to that tool
Yeah.
that it'll take a lifetime to explain. But yeah, so I mean, I do different things like that. If I'm like this weekend, I kid you, a perfect example. This weekend, I'm working on a tool still to this day, actually, to this hour. I'm playing around with the Rust programming language.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been programming in Rust all yesterday and mostly today. I'm just writing, and I'm just writing a tool that downloads all of my favorite security tools from GitHub
Mm-hmm.
and just installs them on the Kali box. That's it.
Okay.
But I'm doing this all in Rust.
Wow.
I know how
That's
to
what's
do it
up.
in Python already,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm doing it in Rust because I want to learn the language better.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
super cool,
that's
man.
why.
So that, and you kind of brought up what I was gonna
Hmm.
go into in a little bit.
Oh, look at
Like
that! There you go.
what's your favorite or distribution uh as far as working with your job? Like, cause I've heard of what's Commando OS. I think Kali. Everybody
Hmm.
knows Kali. Parrot
Parrot
OS.
OS. Yeah.
Yeah,
Arch Linux,
yeah. Black Orange. Yeah,
and also too. But my favorite, and I'm grabbing him right now, is FreeBSD.
yeah, yeah,
Hence why that's where I got the name
yeah,
BSD.
yeah. And
Bandit,
that's what
right?
I figured. That's what I figured you was gonna go to.
So now for work, I use Kali Linux, of course. I'm actually working on an operating system called SecBSD,
Okay.
SECBSD. So if you go to secbsd.org, that's our website. It's myself and several other volunteers. We've actually created a penetration testing distro based off of the OpenBSD operating system, but we call it SecBSD. And we're
Okay.
porting a lot of the tools over to SecBSD.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's still an ongoing project, by the way. But shout out to SecBSD.
Yeah, that's
Love y'all.
dope. Yeah, I was looking at possibly creating a distribution at some point.
Yeah,
I just haven't decided what direction I wanted to go in. But nah, that's
well,
super dope right there, man. Let me post that
yeah,
link in the chat as well. You guys can
yeah.
check it out.
Once you decide where you want to go, man, go do it. Just
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Yo.
You know, you don't need permission to be awesome.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't need the permission.
Exactly.
Just go do it. You
So
know, so that's the key.
yeah, exactly. Let me see. So how do you keep like everything current? Like I know you was just talking about how you're just out the blue wanting to learn Rust.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you do with pretty much everything where you just like, oh man, I gotta stay on top of these skills, so let me hop into this area, if you get what I'm saying. Go
I
ahead.
just I do it more so like with life in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to learn something, like right now, I'm at the beginning stages, I'm teaching myself how to speak German,
Okay.
right? And I'm using Duolingo, so so that and like I said, I'm a coffee head, so I like coffee. So I'm like, "Hallo, Kaffee und Milch, bitte."
Okay.
So I just pretty much just said, "Hello, coffee and milk, please."
Okay.
That's all.
That's what's
That's
up.
all I've learned so far,
Yeah.
sentence wise. So
Well,
please,
that's all
anybody
you
that
need
speaks
though, right?
German,
Right. At the moment, huh? I'm just playing. Yo.
I'll take Sawasa. Danke. So I'll learn a little bit here and there, but I'm excited about the language. I have fun with it though. But I kind of do that in every aspect of life. Just
Hmm.
if you really want to learn something, get out there. Like we have the whole internet to ourselves.
Yeah.
Go out there and just like research whatever it is that you want to get into. You can do it. It's possible. If you're thinking about it, just try it. It'll work.
Yeah.
Eventually, I guarantee you.
Yeah, that's so true. And YouTube is like one of the best resources out, well, Google as well, but Google number one,
Mm-hmm.
but YouTube is another great resource. All the
Yeah.
information is out here for you to, whatever you trying to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has either ran into it before and put up a blog, or
Mm-hmm.
the information is just out there in general,
Yeah.
for you to find and help you get into it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you can look at YouTube as the video version of Google.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's it. Go to YouTube and you can do the same like strings and like combination of searches that you do with Google. You can just do it on YouTube as well. It's just as a video format.
I got you. Yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's 100. So, you kind of answered the question I was gonna ask, but let me ask it again.
Yeah, ask it. Yeah, we having a
So
conversation. Yeah,
yeah,
ask it. Yeah.
yeah. Like, what are some of the programming languages you recommend? I know you said Python earlier,
Yeah.
but are there any other programming languages you recommend people learn if they're trying to get into this
Um,
field?
I would definitely have them like I said with Python, of course. If you're learning like reverse engineering, say if you want to get into reverse engineering, I would recommend learning C
Mm-hmm.
or Rust, because Rust is a system level programming language,
Yeah.
and definitely assembler. Nowadays, everything's like moving more towards ARM, so I would recommend learning ARM assembly, ARM based assembly.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to get into that field. Now with web applications, just learn a web language. Python is good, but I also recommend definitely learn JavaScript, because JavaScript is like all over the place on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely want to know some JavaScript, and you definitely you want to know some PHP, you want to know some Java. So a combination, it just depends on what your main focus is. If you want to go low level, yeah, C and assembler and Rust.
Okay. Have you touched on Go, the Google's language?
Go is great too. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, man. I forgot about Go. Go, folks. Don't hurt me now. Go Lang. I love y'all too. No, Golang is awesome language. A couple of my buddies, they actually code in Go. So we call it the Go Rust combination. So so pretty much like they code a lot in Go. And sometimes I'll get ideas. Oh, you coded that in Go. Let me see if I could do that in Rust. So that kind of motivates me to keep learning Rust as well too.
Yeah. Because that's my problem when it comes to
hmm
programming languages. I
hmm
have to have a reason to learn it. If I don't have
yeah,
any type of goal that I'm trying to reach, I'm not motivated to just sit there. I mean, because you can sit there and watch the training videos and it shows you, okay, this is how you use this function. This is how you
right,
use this. But after an hour of watching that, it's gone because
right,
I haven't touched it. I haven't built something using it. You see what I'm saying? So I have
right.
to have some type of end goal when I'm learning programming languages to
Agreed.
master. Yeah.
Agreed. So I would definitely recommend those like languages. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like it's if you really wanted, and they're fun languages to learn. And you don't have to learn it in 12 hours. Don't
Mm-hmm.
believe the book.
Yeah.
Can't learn a programming language in 12 hours or 24 hours. Doesn't work that way. It's
Mm-hmm.
like time. I look at programming like this. I call it the slow drip, the time sink.
Okay.
And what you're trying to learn, and then you have iron at the bottom. Slow drip. You learn a little bit, read a little bit of code, write some more code, read some more code, write some more code. It's exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you're going to wear through that brick wall called not knowing.
Yeah.
Because the water, slow drip, after a while, water will wear through anything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's why I call it the slow drip.
Cool. Cool. Now, how do you think um automation is going to impact your area that you're in, that you're working in, as far as because I've seen articles, you know, articles
Mm-hmm.
on automation, affecting really pretty much all the jobs. But
Everything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on how it's going to affect cybersecurity in the future?
Um, it'll make it shift. I will tell you that. Because I mean everything is more so like a lot of stuff is just shifting towards the cloud and stuff anyway, and a lot of that stuff is automated in the cloud, right?
Hmm.
So it'll help if you're if you have a security mindset, because again, anything man-made can be broken.
Yeah, definitely.
So automation, it will. I will say it is. I think it's going to eliminate the help desk,
Yeah.
like a lot of help desk places. I think that's going to be eliminated eventually.
Hmm.
Because the ticketing systems will be automated. If somebody has an issue, put it in there, put in a ticket. Then they probably have the code at the back end that actually looks at the specific error that the user's having an issue with, and they can have something to where they give you instructions. Hey, can you log into this portal for me? Then it looks for that error and actually fixes it automatically,
Hmm.
and then that's it. I mean, I think it'll eliminate help desk jobs. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting as far as like the IT is concerned. But I know like with security, there will be like a shift or whatnot. So better pick up on the programming.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to myself too. And then,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy. Like every job I've
Mhm.
had over the last couple years, because I do a lot of contracting, so
Uh-huh.
I jump around a lot. But
Yeah.
programming has been more and more incorporated. They'll focus in on, hey, we need you to do this training on Ansible.
Yeah.
We need you to do this training on Jenkins. Um,
Okay.
you know, Chef, Puppet. All those automation tools that are out there. They try to push us to, like my company pays for the whole Udemy business suite, so we can go through
Okay.
and watch all the courses or look at all the courses on Udemy for free or whatever, and
Nice.
go through the training, and they'll require us to take certain ones. So, and they're
Okay.
dealing with programming. So I definitely 100% agree with you that, you need to
Yeah.
learn programming to get into it. You know what I'm saying? So,
I most definitely would, because I mean, it's so much out there to get into and actually learn. So yeah, I would definitely just say, hey, you know what? Let me put down the Instagram for a second and pick up a programming language
yeah.
or stop, because it does take time. And I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie to you, like, um, I saw this group on Facebook called "I'm a Programmer and I Don't Have a Life." That's partially true. Like, it is a lot of reading. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna give you the just the sunny side up version. There is a lot of reading. There is a lot of testing, like debugging. There is a lot of time where you're not gonna catch up on your favorite shows each week. It just doesn't work that way.
Hmm.
You know, the amount of time you put into something is the amount of reward that you're gonna get back.
Yeah.
If you give a little bit of effort, you get a little bit of reward.
Hmm.
It is what it is. So, you might have to say, no, I don't want to. And it's for the kids in college. Hey, sometimes you got to miss a couple of parties to become the party.
Yep. 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 That's dope. Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% right, man. You gotta, if you want to be successful, you gotta follow that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't party all the time. You know.
no, even for like I had to learn that. Even when I was in college, there was a couple of times I just didn't go to the party.
Hmm.
Stayed back in the dorm or back in the apartment and wrote code or practiced on something.
Yeah.
And there was no wireless at that time, so everything had to be downloaded to your laptop.
Hmm.
And yeah, so this was the 2002 era, so there wasn't no wireless G and all this other fun stuff everybody gets to enjoy now.
Hmm. Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy. Um, Let me give a couple shout outs. Kev Tech, IT support. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're able to
Mhm.
come through. Um, let's see. Wicked Kit E. Good to see you. Dorflo, IQ. Good to see you as well.
Mhm.
Looks like Fire Snake, Dynamic Infra. Um,
Mhm.
good to see you as well. Engineering Cannabis, good to see you. Alpha Cybersecurity. Hey, you guys go check out Alpha Cybersecurity. He's he's been putting out a lot of interviews as well, and he's in the
Okay.
cybersecurity field as well. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, definitely link me, Alpha
yeah,
Cybersecurity. I'll definitely check you out.
yeah. I think you might want to interview over there as well. He does great, man. He's actually in the field, like I'm not in the field, so it's certain technical questions I can't really ask or go into. He
Right.
will be able to hit that up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put
No,
the
the
information out.
questions here have been good. Ask away. I'm an open book, and folks that's out there that's sitting, that's on the chat. If you got questions, ask away. I am here. I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Yeah, definitely. Salute, man. Salute. I'm glad you was able to
Yeah.
do this again. But let's see. It was one other thing I wanted to ask you about,
Uh huh.
and then we can go into actually, let's just go into to the questions. If anybody out there got any questions for Charles, just go on and put them in the chat. I'll try to ask them as much or when they come in. So
Yeah, and then we keep chatting.
Yeah, and is there anything else you want to put out though, or anything else? Oh, that was one thing, and that's the
What's
thing.
that?
Things be slipping my mind, man. Like, how do you lab? How do you lab? Like, what? How do you
How
recommend
do I
people?
lab?
Yeah, how do you recommend people, start labbing? Or I know I've heard you talked about hack the box. I heard you talk about
Oh
other
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Can you get into some of that, um,
yeah,
a little bit?
definitely. So I'm gonna give you the clip on how to do this with no money down. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I like doing that in the little commercials. Um, so if you want to like hack the box is free. So you could definitely sign up for an account at Hack the Box, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's totally free, that's totally legit, right? And if you don't have money for VMware, that's perfectly okay. They do have a VMware player that is free.
Yep.
Also, you can either install like VirtualBox, and VirtualBox runs on Windows, Linux, or Mac. So, and then of course you can install Kali Linux from there and start labbing. There's also something that you can do called Vuln Hub. Vuln Hub is pretty cool because you don't have to be online to hack those boxes. Those are actual VMs that you can download and install into your environment.
Okay.
Yeah, so Vuln Hub is very good. Another one is Try Hack Me. I think it's tryhackme.org. Tryhackme.org is also, like I said, free resource to get out there and actually test your skill set and everything else. There's also something called detections. I think it's like detections.org or .com, detections lab, because it's and don't quote me on that, but it's a detections lab for like the defensive side of the house too.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to learn like different defensive techniques, right? And monitoring tools. There's a lot of free resources out there like OS Query and Wazoo. That's an open source EDR solution that you can install into your environment and play around with as well too. So that's pretty much how I lab in general. Like I'll look for like free resources first. I love free 99. So I'll look for those resources first. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Vuln Hub. And once I've done enough of that, then I would look into like bug bounties. That's free as well too. Burp Suite, which is what a lot of web app hackers use these days, is just straight up Burp Suite. There's a free version, there's a paid version. The free version is good enough just to work with like different web applications. The only difference between the free version and the professional version, and of course the enterprise version now, is that like say if you want to like brute force something, right? Like brute force a password, Intruder, which is the tool that's built into Burp, is going to
Mm-hmm.
be it's throttled down in the free version. The
Okay.
speed is throttled
Yeah,
down in the free version.
I got you.
In the professional and the enterprise is not throttled. That's really the main difference between the two.
Okay.
So if you want to use Intruder like insanely fast, then you got to pay. But if you don't, then you really don't need it. Not for when you're practicing hacking web apps. No.
Mm-hmm. Now
Yeah.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Someone actually someone gave a super chat, dynamic info. Thank you for the super chat. Is there a
Mm-hmm.
Linux security track or cert? Do you know if any Linux certs that or security focus?
That are security focused. No, but the best Linux security cert that I've seen was the RHCE by
Mm-hmm.
Red Hat, the Red Hat cert,
Yeah.
because that's 100% hands on.
Okay.
That's 100% hands on cert. You're going to configure DNS. You're going to configure like HTTP. You're going to configure Squid proxy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to like configure DHCP servers as well too, and the firewall, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first part. The second part, and I'm not sure how they do it now, but the second part, what they do, you go to lunch, right? Because they used to have it at the Red Hat facilities in North Carolina. I'm not sure if they still do. If anybody knows that, then please correct me. You go from lunch, and then when you come back from lunch, all your stuff is broken. You have to troubleshoot it and fix it.
Oh,
That's part of the exam.
that's cool.
So I definitely would recommend going with the Red Hat cert for far as the Linux perspective. Like I said, and
Mm-hmm.
with far as like security is concerned, either offensive security or e-learn security.
Okay.
eLearn security is pretty good too.
Okay. Yeah. And so, and then another thing,
Mm-hmm.
you might, and I'm just kind of, us or adding to what you said, but,
Yeah.
he, if you just starting out and you're not new, I mean, are you new to Linux, then you should start with some of those lower certifications like Linux Plus, or I know
Yes.
Linux Foundation has some training as well as certifications.
Yeah.
I actually tried to take one of those Linux Foundation certs and failed
Okay.
it. I failed it.
That's okay. Hey, but you learned something, right?
Yeah, yeah, I actually learned.
Boom. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. But and that see, and I kind of jumped out there. I kind of got kind of cocky because I do my videos and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I got this or whatever, and I kind of
Woo.
slacked off on the training. So and I don't mind saying this, but that's really what happened. And then that test, the one thing with the Linux Foundation test from like
Uh-huh.
Linux Plus and all that stuff is performance based. So
Yes.
yeah, it's a VM or a virtual machine. You log
Mm-hmm.
into it and you have to do all the configuring that they ask you based on um
Yeah.
yeah, what the questions are. And so I wasn't prepared. But
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna try to take it again pretty soon. I figured I jump back down and I'm studying for Linux Plus so I can go down
There you go.
and pass that, and then and
Man, you're gonna do just fine, man. I guarantee you, you're gonna do great on that. Again, failure, that's all a part of it. Shoot, I
mhm.
failed the OSCP the first time.
Okay.
I was weak in learning buffer overflows.
Okay. Yeah, the buffer
Yeah.
overflow.
Mm-hmm. So I took it a second time and passed. But yeah, I failed it the first time. You know? So no, I haven't. I don't don't get it confused.
Mhm.
Every cert that I've taken, I haven't passed on the first try all the time. That
Yeah.
don't that's not reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So yeah. But I went back, tried again, got it. Now I'm working on the OSCE,
Mhm.
which is dealing with exploit development in the Windows environment. And this is where Rust comes in.
Okay. Let's see. And also shout out KeepItTechie for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Say shout out to KeepItTechie for doing these interviews. I appreciate you. But I'm trying to find. I know there's another. Oh, here we go. What's a
Mm-hmm.
fun Python project that can keep someone interested in learning a language? Do you know of any
Mm.
Python projects? I could I can
Um.
assist with it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Search GitHub
Yeah.
like for Python and just look through the different projects that are there on GitHub, and that'll I know it's a lot of training on GitHub as well. Like people that have built
Yeah.
like games and stuff using Python.
Yeah.
Um and you can see the code and you can try to duplicate it, and that'll be a project that
That'll
can
teach you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could teach you. But go ahead if you had anything else or if any you
Oh.
could think of.
No.
Nah.
You hit the
I did-
nail on the head with GitHub, and also too, if there's open source projects out there, volunteer.
Yeah.
Volunteer to help fix the code. You'll learn a lot by doing that.
Mhm.
If you just volunteer, be like, hey, I want to help fix the code, get on the developers mailing list, and boom, there you go.
Yep. And then also that will help with your resume, because
Yep.
that's another thing I was gonna get into. How important is having a network when working in this type of field? And what I mean by you get what I'm saying, right?
Like
Like people.
a home network, you
No,
mean?
no,
Or a
people.
network of people.
Yeah.
It's important. It is important because again, and it's important because you never know who knows who, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a situation where you're not happy at a job, or you just think that it's time to grow and go somewhere else, right? I mean, it's reality, it's life, it happens, right? So you might be going to company A over here, and you met the CEO, even though he didn't tell you he was the CEO
Yeah.
at the security conference, and you guys are just hanging out, talking and drinking or smoking cigars, whatever your passion is, right? And you just have a regular conversation, and you guys become cool, regular, and you communicate on a regular basis. Next thing you know, company, hey, oh yeah, I know this guy right here or
Mm-hmm.
girl, like, oh, Yeah, we were cool. Yeah, send me your resume. Boom.
Yeah.
Because, and then once your resume's in, they say, okay, do you got time to talk for an interview? Uh-oh. Your foot's in the door right there.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the interview, it's on you to show what you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it.
Good information.
That's why it's important.
Yeah, yeah, good information. And that's why I always talk about LinkedIn as well. Like, just growing that LinkedIn network as well. That can help you because and then getting those people that you've worked with, like people that you've closely worked with that understand your how you perform and all that stuff, getting them to put recommendations in. You definitely want to be selective on who you ask to do the recommendations.
Yeah.
But get those recommendations, they help you out.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
Yeah. But let me see. I thought it was another question. I would say start scanning. Definitely networking is important. Yeah. Yeah, definitely KeepItTechie. You're right. No storage is about to drop this book called Python. Oh, okay. He just putting out. They just talking in the chat, but that's all I got for you, man. If it's anything else you want to put out, or just motivating to help people try to get into this field, just go for it.
Hey, okay. Well, again, I just want you. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem.
I truly appreciate it. Again, if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, first and foremost, never doubt yourself. Yes, you can do it. I'm telling you this from experience because I've done it. And there's other folks that have done it. I've come a long way from that apartment at 9E in Yonkers, New York. That's where I'm originally from. All right. Again, you can get into this field and there's no set way to get into it. Like if you were an accountant, I've known people that were into accounting. I know people that were law people that are now into the IT field. I've known people, one of my old roommates, his major was history, and he's an engineer at Google now.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? He has a degree in history. So it doesn't matter what path you take, but just take the path, take that first step. And if you trust me, if you're helping yourself, you're trying to help yourself, somebody will help you. If you don't have anybody that it can help you and you want to ask questions, please hit me up on Twitter. I will definitely help you as all I can. I can even help point you in the right directions. Even if I don't know the information, I know somebody that does, So my DMs are always open on Twitter. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. And I'm all about just trying to help folks like live out their dreams and have fun doing it as well. Because what's the point of living if you're not going to live and just enjoy what you're doing? It shouldn't be work. It should just be enjoyment.
Yeah, definitely. But again, I appreciate you coming through, and I want you to stick around after I end the stream. But I put all Charles's links in the description of the video as well as in the chat. So if you guys want to check it out, I even put your blog in there as well. BSDBandit.io.
It ain't much there, but I'm growing.
Yeah, it's all good, man. And then his Twitter handle, BSD Bandit. I put all that in the description of the video. So like I said, I'm glad you was able to come through and put out some great information, man, that could possibly help someone. And if you guys have any questions, you can hit him up or hit me up. I get you in contact with him or whatever. But definitely, I hope you guys have a good day and keep it techie.
Ow! Yep.